Round of applause for Carel.
Yeah, I could use a clicker. Well, let's get started while we sort this thing out. So, my name is Carel. I'll go over sort of why we're here, how did we get here, where we are, and where we're going from here. But maybe just sort of as to start, like, I love the energy, but let's just take a moment. Have you thought about why you are here? I've been thinking about that for the past for the last day. And is it just to come listen to some cool talks? Is it to meet up with people I haven't seen in a while? It's all of these things, but I think for me this event or this opportunity is about building a common understanding amongst all of us that's here. And so maybe just let's take a moment. When's the last time you took a deep breath? Like take a deep breath in, deep breath out. And consider that question, why are you here? Right? And this is not the first slide. That's the next one, so we need the previous one. Okay, you're going through my entire presentation here, guys. This sucks. all the surprises are being revealed. Okay, thanks. Okay, so why am I here? Well, I'm here as much to build a common understanding as there's something that I don't understand. And I think for a lot of people that's true. That's here. I don't understand fiat. Okay, I don't understand how some people can create value by decree. How can the king just create value by decree, right? That's the definition of fiat. It's money that's created by decree. And I don't even trust the king. So how does that make sense? I grew up on the internet. My views long ago were shaped in like the forge of internet relay chat channels. I adopted the ethos of open source software. A border never really existed for me. I was engaging with people all across the world in real time. And so I've always thought about this. I read sci-fi books. My favorite book, by the way, is The Cryptonomicon. Please read it if you haven't. It's published in 1999 by Neil Stephenson. It's about digital currency that's non-government issued. I don't know how long I have to talk because I'm still on 0 minutes. So this can go on for a while. But then something changed for me in 2010 when I discovered Bitcoin. Thanks, guys. And this idea that I had, the sci-fi book and the concept that I read about digital currency, suddenly it became a reality. And to me, that was like have you had that feeling like we're living in a simulation? Right? To me, that was like the first time I had that feeling like, holy shit, we're living in a simulation. Then I still felt like, maybe I'm crazy because everybody was telling me I'm crazy. In 2010, Bitcoin is few and far between. Like my family told me, hey, why are you messing around with this magic internet money? When are you going to get a real job? I was just telling everybody about Bitcoin. Everybody was telling me you're crazy. And so sitting here and seeing all of your faces and seeing the community grow and getting to this stage where it's at now, and believe me, this is just a start. We're still early. This is like we're living in a simulation, feeling that I'm getting here. And then I started getting lucky. I got very lucky, but it's not my luck. The reason I got lucky is because I aligned myself with Bitcoin. So I got a few incredible lucky breaks. The first lucky break was with Standard Bank. I convinced the head of innovation at Standard Bank somehow to build a Bitcoin wallet. Crazy. So I was just pitching Bitcoin to him as I'm pitching Bitcoin to everyone. And I'm like, why don't we build a Standard Bank wallet? Obviously, he's going to say no. It's like, okay. okay, what? Okay, let's build a Bitcoin wallet for Standard Bank. Not a lot of people know about this because the news got a little bit suppressed afterwards, but I said, fine. He paid me to do it. We built the wallet for Standard Bank. Crazy, it worked. You could log in with online banking, Standard Bank Bitcoin wallet. Head of compliance finds out about this thing, and he's like, shut it down immediately. Okay. Second lucky break, I met some early Bitcoiners, guys like Timothy Stranix, Marcus Swanepoel, Pieter Heinz. We were building this wallet, and suddenly we were out of a job because our only client said goodbye. And then we're like, well, South Africa needs a way for people to easily get some Bitcoin. So let's build an exchange. And we built this thing, it's called BitX, and then later it was rebranded Luno. And now if you walk out around in Cape Town at night, you can look up at the sky and you can see Luno. And somebody asked me last night, how does it feel when you see that logo? I'm like, it's like I'm living in a simulation, to be totally honest. But then things kept getting weirder. One day, the second largest retailer in Africa comes to the office, and they're like, hey, can you add Bitcoin payments for us? Pick and Pay. I'm just like, okay, let's do it. So we built, this is 2017, before Lightning, built a proof of concept. Didn't work, okay? Too expensive, too slow. And then I actually got into a bit of a depression because I was like, well, I always thought Bitcoin could be money, but clearly it's never going to work. We can never pay with it. It's store of value. That's all it is, plain and simple. And so time passed. I started playing with Lightning when it came out. I'm like, this is cool. And then I built a little website where you can buy electricity vouchers. This is actually quite a difficult problem to solve, buying a voucher, because the vendor can actually tell you, no, I don't have stock, then you need to return funds. That's one of the big problems with Bitcoin payments. This is called Alan Watts, after my favorite philosopher. So I was playing with this, and I was like, okay, hey, this works really well for payments. Another lucky break. Pick and Pay calls me again. They're like, hey, has anything changed? We still want to do Bitcoin payments. I'm like, I think I've got a solution. Let's try it again. Second proof of concept. Works really well. Okay, the technology works really well. Streamlined, fast, cheap, very cool. They're like, okay, that's nice. You've proven that the tech works, but is anybody going to use this? Another lucky break. I meet Herman. I meet the people from Bitcoin Economies. They're like, hey, we've got this Bitcoin economy. We've got people with Bitcoin that they want to spend. I'm like, okay. How about we activate the Pick and Pay in Mossel Bay and see where that goes? Next moment, it sends me a video of little kids walking into a Pick and Pay, buying a single loaf of bread, a roll of bread, a single banana, a single orange. I send this to the Pick and Pay executives. Their eyes go wide. They're like, this is insane. This is radical financial inclusion right here that we can demonstrate in our store. This sets us miles apart from all the other retailers. What do we need to do to launch this across the nation? I'm like, oh, it's a one-liner code change for us. Done. So then, okay, what's next? We've got Pick and Pay. This company is called Crypto Convert. I know crypto. Spoke about this at the first Adopting Bitcoin in 2024. It's after Cryptonomicon. Okay, it wasn't an evil word always, but nobody liked the name. Okay, everybody hated it. And then lucky break, this name comes to me, Moneybadger. How did it get to me? Well, I told my wife, please look for me for cool T-shirts for me and my co-founder. What should it have? Okay, it should have a honey badger on it. She's like, lol, you should just call yourself Moneybadgers. I'm like, okay, cool, Moneybadger. And then we saw that this started having an impact sort of on the SA payment space. SA payment space, lucky break again. under a lot of pressure. There's like big player coming in, putting a lot of pressure on the other players, and they need to differentiate. And we're like, hey guys, like Pick n Pay is doing like R1 million of Bitcoin payments or like crypto payments every month. Why don't you just add Bitcoin and crypto as an option, and then you look cool against your competitors? And they're like, okay. So first one is Peach Payments. They're an online payment gateway, serve a lot of merchants online. That went live, going well. Then we're like, what about physical merchants? What about more physical merchants? Spoke to Zapper. Zapper's got a QR code thing. Another lucky break. South Africa is like full of QR code payment providers already. SnapScan, Zapper, Scan to Pay, previously Masterpass. So we speak to Zapper. Okay, let's go. Activate Lightning payments for all Zapper merchants, 30,000 plus. Then we went to Scan to Pay, EFT Corp. Okay, let's add Bitcoin payments for 650,000 stores. That's the headline number. I'll talk about the stats in a bit. And then we're like, okay, but we still have a bit of a problem. We've got these funny merchant QR codes. It's not Lightning QR codes. We're not displaying now Lightning native invoices, and people are having trouble paying. So we speak to Blink. We're like, hey, can we add like our APIs into the Blink wallet, and then you can spend with the Blink wallet directly. You don't need the Moneybadger scanner. By the way, how it works is you go up to the person in timeout where you're buying your food later. You say, I want to pay with Bitcoin. They say, huh? You say, do you have Zapper? Show me the Zapper QR code. They go, huh? You're like, just look at the screen. There's a button that says Zapper. Click it. It shows a QR code. Then you take out your Moneybadger scanner application. Then you scan it with that. Then it launches your Lightning wallet. It's very confusing. Okay, but we're getting better. So we said, well, let's at least eliminate that last step. We have to take out the Moneybadger scanner. You just want to scan with Blink. Add the APIs. They're like, we're not adding your APIs. It's like third-party stuff for regional countries. Not going to work. But we've got this other idea. All of this is open source, right? And here's the power of open source. We'll use Lightning addresses. And we use it in a clever way. I'm not going to explain it now. You can come ask me afterwards. I've given talks about how it works. But we use Lightning addresses in a clever way, and now suddenly, boom, you can pay proprietary merchant invoices with a standard Lightning wallet with no API integration. It's totally magic, like it's fucking magic. But not my idea, not my idea. This is Blink. Thank you, Blink. And now we've that little code change started getting copy-pasted into more and more Lightning wallets. So it's been deployed to Aqua, self-custodial, amazing. Layers, if you spot Gareth around here, Gareth is building layers, baked into that. Actually, I think he's using an API, so he's cheating a little bit, but it's better experience. Anyway, and a number of others, like for me, very excitingly, the latest release of Zeus wallet integrates it. Very cool. My favorite wallet because it's a self-custodial, in my opinion, the nicest self-custodial Lightning wallet. Fedi's here. You can go speak to them. They've built a proof of concept, a little mini app. You can pay with the Fedi app. And even like eCash wallets, I'm starting to hear can do this. This is impossible. This is impossible in the previous system, in the fiat system. But it's like, this is just the way that we do it with Bitcoin, right? And so we've activated all these stores. The headline numbers are like 650,000, 700,000. We've got all these Lightning wallets enabled. What does the numbers look like? I know this is, you all want to see this graph. And everybody's like, Carel, why did you remove the numbers? There's reasons why you don't put sort of your actuals on public material. But what I want to show you is growth. Okay, so the blue line is number of transactions, and the green line is value, right? Rand transacted. And so you can see there towards the middle latter half of 2025, when we activated all of these merchants, the lines did start going up. But the question is, why didn't it go up a lot more, right? So when you think about it, and when we look at the numbers, nobody spends their Bitcoin that they buy. Okay, if you buy Bitcoin, this is the most valuable thing that you have, that you own. And you don't spend it. And it's like that, what's that guy Nicolo said? You're like taking people's future away from them by telling them they need to spend it. Okay? But here's the mistake that he made. If we look at the numbers and we ask ourselves, who's actually spending? And we identify the use case, we see it's people that are earning Bitcoin. Okay, that's crazy. because they've got a problem. When you earn Bitcoin, you suddenly have a problem. You want to buy something with it. And you can either sell it for rands, right? You can do that. But what if you could just spend it directly? What if that's all you have to earn? That thinking of, you're taking people's future by telling them that to spend it, that level of thinking is privileged thinking. Because it's like, to buy Bitcoin, you need to have capital ahead of time. And the people who can really benefit Bitcoin the most don't have capital to start with. They can't buy Bitcoin, right? The goal is going to be to earn, right? And so Herman said, Carel, you're going to comment on why you came to Mossel Bay and painted a house. I didn't come to Mossel Bay to paint my logo on the house because I wanted my logo like up on the house. In fact, I think it's illegal, Herman. I don't think you're allowed as a company to like just paint logos and branding on RDP houses. The reason I went is because they charged me money for it, right? They charged me Bitcoin for it. And who gets that Bitcoin? It's the person living inside of the house. That means it's an earning opportunity. And I was like, earning opportunities are so crucially important, right? I'm going to support this thing. I'm going to do something potentially illegal, and I'm going to go paint the logo, and then I'm going to pay them every single year in Bitcoin, because now there's an earning opportunity. It helps us to prove this concept, this idea, that this is important. But all the numbers don't look good. So firstly, these numbers, there's slow growth. I can't do much about this. This is like grassroots, ground-up level stuff. The only way these numbers grow is from grassroots, people earning Bitcoin. And maybe people that have like a lot of Bitcoin they bought long ago, that they now like net worth, and authors like me that live on Bitcoin. All the numbers don't look good. So last year, I've been giving out this number, people asking me, how much of your spend is Bitcoin? Because we also integrate with regulated wallets like Luno, Valor, Binance, and their users can spend anything. So we've got Bitcoin Lightning, Luno, Valor, Binance. They can spend any token. Natively, we only support Lightning, but they can spend anything. So I said, 2/3 of our transactions is Bitcoin. That's cool. But what does 2025 look like? Have you heard this? 2025 is the year of the stable coin. Okay. Well, that's not encouraging, but that's the reality. And so what I want to tell you today is, don't rely on Moneybadger to be signing up merchants and activating merchant payments and driving merchant commerce. We'll do this from the top down. Okay, we'll get the biggest merchants. I promise you, like in the next 6 months, we're going to have some good news for you. The biggest merchants, the biggest retailers in the country, okay? But for every big merchant that Moneybadger onboards, you should be onboarding 2 in your local communities. Okay, this is very important. I'll say why it's important in a minute, but ultimately that's how we build up the strength of Bitcoin from the ground up. Yeah, absolutely. I need to check my notes quickly. So, yeah, okay. So I'm very happy that everybody is celebrating our success with us. Our success is your success. The reason that we're doing what we're doing is because we're doing it for you. Moneybadger's vision ultimately is a world where you can live your life on a Bitcoin standard. And our mission to achieve that is by making Bitcoin money or changing the narrative that Bitcoin is a medium of exchange by activating merchant payments. But this can change. Okay, this can change overnight. I mean, one of my biggest fears is that the system is going to start pushing back, and in particular on Bitcoin payments, in particular on Bitcoin self-custody payments. And by the way, Moneybadger is a company, so I love all the positive attention. But we're a company, and my grade 8 teacher, when I walked into my first accounting class in standard 6, she taught me the most valuable business lesson I ever learned. She said, the purpose of a company is to make money. Okay, regardless of your grand ideals, a company only exists if it makes money. And so what happens tomorrow if the system starts pushing back on self-custody and it adds like capital control rules to it and it makes it more difficult to spend? What happens if Moneybadger can no longer do self-custody spending of Bitcoin? Suddenly, Moneybadger is no longer the hero that it is. I can't stand in front of you and then pretend like we're doing cool stuff. And Moneybadger will be fine, by the way, because most of our volume actually goes through the regulated exchanges like Luno, right? The company will be fine. We'll keep serving the merchants. The merchants will be happy. They're doing crypto payments. Crypto payment volumes will continue to go up. But the vision of Bitcoin as money, what happens then? If you're relying on Moneybadger to do all of this, okay, but if we all go out and we onboard merchants from the ground up to receive Bitcoin directly, no problem. We'll just continue as usual. So next year, or this year, what's happening next? I think we've kind of like reached the sort of the end of the return on investment we get on the efforts driving merchant payments adoption or consumer payments. We're going to start offering other merchant services, specifically Bitcoin payments as services to merchants. For example, allowing them to pay their staff in Bitcoin, so treasury services, stuff like that. And the idea here is that we support our own business by adding new revenue channels. It's our existing customer base, but we're adding new revenue channels on the existing customer base, but also hopefully to create these earning opportunities. So it'll be your job to go to the barista, the petrol attendant, and say, hey, I'm tipping you in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is awesome. And then as they get orange pilled, guess what? You can now ask your employer to pay you in Bitcoin. So that's a future, maybe the next 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I believe that's the strategy and direction to go. And we're going to enable this by expanding our merchant offering. And so what is the call to action to you today? Well, I like to travel through time. Okay? I like to jump into the future. And so I know some people here, like Edwin, is like, 5 years, then we win. I take a much longer view. I take a 100-year view. And I think about the third generation from us, our children's children. And what are they going to say about the work that we're doing today? Will they look back and say, what did you do? Did you just stack sats and then lose your private keys? Or did you go out and build? Did you go out and build so that we can live a freer life today? Think about that. What will they say of their ancestors, the ones that's sitting here today? So I want to leave you with a little cartoon, a little comic. It's called Monstrous Discrepancies. And it's about institutions and companies. How companies appear. Moneybadger, like doing cool things, to the moon, amazing. But also the system and global institutions, global powers. How it appears is they're like these impossible things to conquer. But in fact, what is the fact? What is the reality? Is that all of these global systems institutions are built on fiat legs. They're standing on thin fiat legs, and it's fragile. It's built on an untruth. Okay? So take that with you. Wherever you are, look at where you are. Think about what you can do to help grow and build the community. For me, I'm in a privileged position. I've spent decades, years, building up to this point where I can convince big companies to do business with me. But maybe you're just standing downstairs here, and there's somebody walking past, and they see the Bitcoin poster, and they say, hey, what's this conference about? That's your call to action. That's your opportunity to contribute to the community and help grow. I wish I could give some time for questions, but I'm out of time. So if you have any questions for me, please come see me afterwards. Very happy to answer. I'm not as I'm friendlier than I look. But yeah, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and thank you for the opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Carel van Wyk.